Hey, I'm Chris Januszewski, and welcome to the Rebellious Times Podcast. Today we've got Brogan Neagle with us. He's CEO of Ethos Social, and he's solving a problem that I think probably everybody on this podcast, everybody that's viewing, experiences. We're all wasting time on social media. We spend hours and hours in our day on social media, and half the time we're probably arguing with bots. So I'm delighted to introduce Brogan. This is part of our Austin podcast series as well. So I'm even more delighted the fact that Brogan is in Austin. He's building in the Austin community, and he's got a really fantastic story to share. How are you doing, Brogan?
Great. Thank you so much, Chris, for having me on today.
Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. We actually got introduced through the Founders Running Club in Austin, right? So that's a group where I've not actually done any running yet, but I've made some friends that way.
Yeah, absolutely. That is one of, the many beauties of Austin is they have these, intertwined activities / networking events that really allow like-minded individuals to connect. And so, yeah, it's great whenever, those things work and we're able to, actually, see it out of the running club.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that as I've been building out Rebel Commerce Solutions this year, obviously trying to find clients, doing cold outreach, doing various online methods, but there's nothing like actually getting in the community, whether it be face to face or in one of these groups. So yeah, love that. And because it's the Austin series, I always like to talk a little bit about Austin. What's your connection with Austin? A lot of times founders are like maybe imported like me, but what's your background relationship with Austin?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm born and raised Texan. I grew up in Dallas, just 3 hours north. And about 7, 8 years ago, I moved to Austin to study undergrad at UT Austin. Great experience. It was really the first time that I, moved to a new city. I was born and raised in Dallas, so it was not too far from home, but a whole different environment feel. And I got to be honest, I absolutely loved it. I loved the creativity and authenticity of Austin. And so after I did my 4 years, I didn't want to leave. And so I, found a job as a AI software engineer. And, I've been here ever since building.
Fantastic. And obviously, as an AI software engineer, there's a lot of market opportunities for you. Now, I believe Facebook's paying certain engineers an average of $65 million, right, to work on their AI. So you have options, but you chose the entrepreneur path. Kind of what guided you into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, actually, the reason why I started, Ethos was a interesting and honestly sad story of a 11-year-old that took her own life due to cyberbullying on social media, and this was an article I read in college, and I was dumbfounded. I could not believe that something like this happened, and I started doing research, and I found out that not only was she not alone, but the cyberbullying was just the tip of the iceberg of the problems occurring online. I started uncovering, fraud, identity theft, data privacy issues, et cetera. The list goes on and on. And so I actually switched my major in undergrad to electrical and computer engineering to learn how to build. And then I actually, I became so obsessed with this idea that I went to go get an MBA to learn how to scale it. And through multiple iterations, we came out with Ethos, and we've been building this for the past year and a half. And really, the problem of that we're solving is that the foundational layer of the internet is broken. And a fun fact that 65% of all interactions online, not just social media, but all interactions online, aren't even done by real humans. And on top of that, 50% of fraud and scams originate on social media. And so clearly there's a tie on, interactions on social media and just interactions overall. And it's become very apparent that you can't trust the person or business on the other side of that screen. And because of that, I truly believe that we're living in a digital authenticity trust crisis. Um, Really, that the real problem right now is not just the bots, but it's the cost of time, money, and honestly, mental energy spent on constantly trying to verify who's real, who's not. And, as Gen AI, continues to blur the line between real and synthetic content, authentic human verification is going to become a premium asset, and Ethos is that premium asset.
Love it. And yeah, what an incredible cause. When you spoke about that girl who took her own life, it's a tragedy like that. Um, it's amazing that it spurred you on to actually take action. As a parent, my kids are pretty young now. My eldest son, he likes to get on the iPad when he can, but he can only really go on Spotify. So he listens to music and literally stares at the album cover. And that's exciting to him. When he actually gets on social media, when my daughter does, that's scary as a parent because, like you say, people are mean. Like, people are mean to adults, and adults take it really hard. You've got to be kind of as thick-skinned as you can as an adult. And I think as people get more well-known, celebrities, et cetera, when you see some of the things that people write from behind typing behind the little keyboards, it really brings out something in humans, some discomfort that's sitting in the whole human race, right? People are unhappy. So how do we create this to be an experience where people can opt to kind of be in an environment where they're comfortable with people they want to talk to, where they trust them, where they're getting good information? Massive, massive challenge. And I know, the governments think they can solve it, and the government sponsors definitely think they can solve it, but can we take a little control of it ourselves through your solution? Yeah, I love what you're doing there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that is just one of, the many reasons that I really, took action to, try and make this, because I know, I want to have kids one day. And, I grew up with a sister, and just seeing how, you know, mean people can be online, that is just, one of the many issues that we're facing. And, we should be able to have an online trusted community as if, we're having a conversation right now, face to face. And well, I guess virtually face to face, but, being able to determine, and especially as AI gets better, it's going to be extremely difficult to, figure out what's real and what's not. And so it's important to get ahead of that, because, especially like young children and older people are very vulnerable to, these sort of issues. But really, it gets so good, the fakes, the deep fakes, the fraud, it gets so good that, everyone can succumb to it. And so, it is a huge, opportunity here. And really, Ethos, we're not just another social platform. We're starting off as, the first AI verified social platform, but inevitably we'll become, the trust layer for the entire internet. And we're building a guaranteed identity standard that everyone can rely on. And really, our home base is a patented AI verification system. And this isn't just to filter content of what's good or what's bad, but really to guarantee the identity of every user on the platform. So those bots aren't allowed, the duplicate accounts aren't allowed. And so while, we can't control what people say, their name and their likeness, they are attached to that. And so you can't really hide behind an alias anymore. And so if you're on Ethos, it's really the first platform where real actually means something.
Love it, love it. Question: How do we? So, there are different forces pulling in different directions as we try and evolve this whole experience. And some people like to remain anonymous because they feel that they're more able to say what they really think. For instance, if somebody, put their real name and their employer saw that they didn't have a perspective that the employer likes, then it could have consequences for their career, right? These sorts of examples. How do we balance that? Freedom of speech is probably the right word, right? I know even that now nobody knows quite what that means anymore, but how do we balance the ability to really say what you think, and get your expression out there without putting yourself, in a position where you could be cancelled, in inverted commas?
Right. And so, I mean, that just, comes with being, acting just and acting right. So, if you're worried about, what your boss might think, or, if there might have some other repercussions, um, you know, maybe think twice before you say it, as if you were, talking face to face. Alias names and being able to have an outlet for that, that is just not, that's okay. That's just not on Ethos. And
A
so,
different platform, yeah.
yeah, it's a different platform. Our goal here is, not, to give people, burner accounts to be able to rant. It's to be able to promote authentic creativity and genuine interactions. And so, we're talking a lot about, doing good and being nice and, being genuine. And we're taking a step further because, current platforms are flooded with edited content. And one of the really unique features that differentiates Ethos is that we want to take what makes Austin great, the genuine, the authentic, the creative minds in the capital city of Texas, and give them a platform to show off their raw talent. And so we have something that we call the one take feature, and it really is the antidote to the highlight reel. It allows creators to reclaim their time and be genuinely authentic, proving that the person you see online is the same one in real life. It gives them this, a high stakes, unedited content experience where it's thrilling. It's as if that they go up on stage and they're performing live as they do, on a Tuesday night at the local bar. It gives them the opportunity to be real online, and this promotes the idea of just being yourself. Everything doesn't have to be perfect, but you know imperfection is better than synthetic.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So tell me a bit more about how you're getting in the mix with the Austin community.
Yeah. So, the past couple months has been tremendous. We launched a private beta in June, and we had 50 users sign up and just pretty much try and rip us apart. What's going wrong? How can we fix it? What do they actually need? What are we spending too much time on? And we shifted into this platform that really drove our mission to to this genuine and authentic atmosphere. And so what we have done is we have, gone, gone into the scene of Austin and communicated with, music producers, media brand owners, creators, musicians, chefs, artists. And, we're building a platform where these people can showcase their raw talents. And so what we've done is we've partnered up with creators that over 100,000 plus following on other platforms, people that own their own, magazine brands, music brands, great chefs in the town, and are pretty much giving them the opportunity here really soon, hopefully, to showcase their talents live, but be rewarded on Ethos for it. And so we have this open guitar case opportunity where it's tipping and allowing passive income for these creators, but not through a subscription or a live stream basis, through posting their genuine talent. Just like with the one take feature, it's unedited. So it's really, you do it one time and you're not, fighting the AI slop that you're fighting with other platforms. You are getting real exposure. And that is really the gold mine. The tipping, that's great. Earning passive income, that's great. But getting the exposure and providing the opportunity for these great musicians, these great artists, the talented people to have exposure to a real community is the gold mine here. And, I use the saying of, it's better to be, instead of being a goldfish in an ocean of AI slop, but to be a shark in a pond of genuine interactions. And that goes a lot further. And so, we're stepping into the scene of Austin. We're communicating with, the great creative minds here to put together really cool events that will bridge online and in person and really try and make, what makes Austin great, that community, that genuine, that authenticity and creative minds, bridge that into an online atmosphere. And I can promise you, there's a reason why people move to Austin, and it's because of those three things. And being able to put that on a platform, it'll be the next big thing. And people in New York. I was just at a founders meeting dinner in New York, and there's people I'm telling them what we're doing, and they can't wait to see because that's another great city, creative minds. There's a lot of great hubs out there, but there's no place better to start than the capital of genuine and authentic, and that's Austin.
Amazing, amazing. So one question I did want to ask, obviously it's very hard to build a startup, right? It takes a lot of thinking, a lot of planning, a lot of courage. And I guess I'm liking, in some respects, I liken one of the challenges you have with what I had when I worked at Walmart. So we were launching the marketplace there, and there were two sides. For a marketplace to work, we needed to have the merchants, or the sellers, as we call them. We needed to have the shoppers, the buyers. And if you don't have a critical mass of both of those, your platform doesn't take off. And obviously with Walmart, you've got a huge brand of being the number one retailer in the world. So that's a little different. But how, as a startup, do you approach getting that critical mass on both sides of the creators and the viewers?
Yeah, so we've divided this business model into two things. It's the wedge and it's the engine. So our wedge is this viral social platform where creators, talented artists, musicians bring their fans onto the platform to be able to view and interact with them. In order to interact and to watch the content, the users, the fans must verify to watch. And we take that verification and we actually license it to any institution such as ticketing, banking, to start building out that digital trust layer. And so, one cannot survive without the other. And it's, a beautiful thing because once, we bring, them on the platform, it's a one-time low lift verification for them. And then inevitably, in the long term, we'll be able to offer, verification services to them throughout any institute that they have online.
Wow, so this is a big vision. This is a significant vision you've got. This is super exciting. When do you think you will expand beyond Austin?
Yeah, so right now we have a contract with the Texas Capitol, and this will allow us to have data access and fully launch in the state of Texas. Right now, we're doing Austin to create the buzz around it, and then we'll start expanding to other major cities, and inevitably. We're currently raising to be able to uphold that contract and then actually launch in a new state, one new state every quarter. And so, once we get this first round of funding, we're looking to, go all in on, promoting ethos in every way possible and getting it to in as many artists and many talented and as many fans as possible. I always love to say that I was, one of the early fans of Post Malone. He grew up in Dallas, and I was at one of his concerts, and if I had the opportunity to, support him whenever he, maybe didn't have the opportunity to, pay rent or to, get that new guitar to be able to make that music, I, I think that it would be so cool to have stock in these artists that early on. And our goal is to give these artists, the talented, whether you paint, you are a cook, or you're a musician, or you're a gamer, or you're a public speaker, whatever it is, to give them a platform to be able to showcase those talents. But then through you know fan interactions, giving them that opportunity to not just take money, but have opportunities that maybe wouldn't necessarily be available to them, whether it's, winning, a talent show that we throw and getting, 10, 1,000 hours of free recording in a recording studio so that they can produce their album or material to paint. And so that's really the goal, is to, start building that in Austin and, having it expand as quickly as possible, but in a safe way. And the first step of, ensuring that it's safe is being able to uphold these contracts with the capital government, so that we can actually verify, instead of hand verifying.
Fantastic. Wow, exciting times. I look forward to watching how you progress over the next year and beyond. If a creator wants to get hold of you and participate in your program, how can they reach out?
Yeah. So either you can download the Ethos app and join the wait list. You can you know DM me on other social platforms. My name is Brogan Neagle. If you're already on there, that could be the easiest way. Um, yeah, I think those would be the two best opportunities to do so.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much, Brogan. It's been a pleasure having you on, and I'm super excited for what you're going to be achieving over the next few years.
Awesome. I really appreciate it, Chris.
All the best.
Awesome. Thank you.